Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Melika Reviews. Today I shall be reviewing the latest installment in the Wizarding world, and that is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So for starters, I should mention that I am a huge Potterhead, and so some of my criticisms may seem a bit harsh, but that's because I am sort of looking at the film from the perspective of someone who loves Harry Potter and wants to see that kind of magic continued. If I had to describe Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them in one word, I would use the word decent. It wasn't mind-blowing, it wasn't I didn't feel let down by it. I didn't feel disappointed. I didn't walk out of the cinema thinking, well, that was a waste of money. I did kind of enjoy it, but at the same time, it didn't blow me away. And for someone who's waited so long for a new movie based around the Harry Potter world, that was kind of unexpected. I did have very high expectations of this movie, and I don't feel it quite delivered. But in the same breath, it had a very high standard to achieve, so it can't really be blamed for falling a little bit short of the mark, and it's by no means a bad movie. I think the plot was very engaging. I did feel it had just the right pace to continue itself throughout the movie. It wasn't too long, it wasn't too short, and I liked the fact that the plot was kept nice and simple, but still with various clever elements to it. I do feel that the twists, I'm not going to mention any spoilers, but I do feel that some of the twists were a bit predictable. There wasn't anything at one point I went oh my gosh, I totally didn't see that coming. I feel a lot of it was very heavily hinted at, earlier on in the movie before it was revealed. So I feel on that particular factor it was a bit lacking. But like I said, for the most part, the plot was very good, very engaging, and it's not something you think, oh, that wasn't good enough. So yeah, if you like your twists and turns, then maybe you might not enjoy it as much, but as a movie, it's a very solid basis for the plot. Similarly, I thought the special effects were really impressive. The film had some very daring visuals, and it really got them just right, and you felt like you were really involved in the movie. You could see it on the screen happening. It was very intense, very realistic, and I thought visually it was a very strong movie. Definitely nothing let me down on that side of things. I think one of the main things that stopped this from being an outstanding movie was the magic. It just didn't capture it in the same way that the original films or the original books did. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them isn't actually based on the book Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's based around the book's fictitious author, Newt Scamander. So it had no basis to start off with for this plot. It was a completely new storyline that's based on very small details we've had about this character in the past. But it just seemed to change the whole setting of the Wizarding world. It was nothing like it's been previously described. The magic wasn't done right. The spells they were using weren't the right spells for what they were doing. I know I sound like a massive nerd there, but basically they were using the wrong spells, which is very infuriating. Again, the sort of special effects they used, while they were great to look at on screen, they were very different to the original movies for the same spells, so it was a bit confusing there. And I just feel like the whole movie had a kind of dark feel to it, not a magical feel to it, and again that was rather disappointing, as it didn't necessarily need to do that throughout the whole movie. Some scenes obviously needed that darkness and that depth, but there weren't very many light-hearted scenes to do with magic like there were in the original movies, and that for me was very disappointing. Another issue I had with the magic used in that film is that it seemed to be used as a get-out-of-jail-free card for a lot of it, and a lot of it made very little sense based on the previous rules we've had around magic. It's that shouldn't be able to happen, and they should have found better ways to deal with a certain situation rather than say, I know, let's just use magic as an excuse for this without giving any explanation as to how they're doing it or why, and I just feel that was very lazy. I thought the acting for the most part was very good though. Eddie Redmayne did a great job as Newt Scamander. He had to bring this character we've heard of before, but we've never had any details about him, so he was basically starting afresh with a new character, very strong expectations of him, and I really do feel he brought Newt Scamander to life. He had a very clear personality which kind of fit with what we knew about him before, and I thought it was very good. Jacob Kowalski is the Muggle we see in the trailers. Again, his character is very fun. He's kind of the comic relief character of it. I liked him. I felt the main woman in the film wasn't that interesting, which is a shame because I really love films with a strong female character, and I found her character rather annoying, rather unnecessary. They could have done a lot more with her than they did. She was never really seen as a good, useful character in a sense. She was just there, basically, and I don't like characters who are just there. I never felt emotionally invested in her storylines, whereas I did with Newt and Jacob. And there were other background characters as well, which I thought most of them were done well. I won't give any details away because spoilers. But yeah, for the most part, the characterizations are really good. However, I would say my emotional investment in them wasn't necessarily as strong as it was in the original movies. But again, I'm comparing a lot. So if I'm looking at it from a fresh as a new movie, it was very decent, but don't expect the kind of strong characterizations we've seen in the original Harry Potter movies, because unfortunately they're not really there. I think one point I picked up on while watching the movie is that it couldn't really decide what it wanted to be. It was like, it's trying to be a Harry Potter movie, but it's taking away all the magic that made them so powerful in the first place and replacing it with a new kind of weird version of magic that just doesn't feel as engaging. It had some funny lines, but nothing laugh out loud. It wasn't really a comedy either. There wasn't enough cleverness to the twists and turns to be like a thriller or anything. So I think a lot of it was riding off the success of the original movies. And while, like I say, it was a good movie, it didn't really stand out in any particular area, which was a shame. But it was, like I say, a very strong movie. So overall, I would give Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them a 7 out of 10, because anything with a 6 on the front seems too low, but any higher than 7 seems too high. So it's a very solid 7 out of 10. Definitely worth seeing once. I probably wouldn't see it again in the cinema, definitely. Maybe once or twice on DVD, but it's not one of those ones I think, yeah, I can't wait to see it again. Glad I watched it. I can wait for a while to see it again. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this review. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra!